I want to turn now to storm-battered Florida because more reminders of what Florida residents are finding when they return home. A portion of a pier washed up on a beach behind homes on Florida's Anna Maria Island after Milton hit the island just 4 days ago. While 1.5 million Floridians are still without power, President Joe Biden announced more than $600 million to shore up the power grid in places like Florida. And after getting a bird's eye view from Marine One of the extensive damage left, this is some of the view there, by Hurricane Milton. Today's visit marks the second time in a little over a week Biden traveled to the state. We've got a team of correspondents covering this. CNN correspondent Brian Todd is traveling with the president in Florida, while CNN White House correspondent Arlette Saenz is in Wilmington, Delaware, as well. Brian, I want to start with you because a bipartisan group of officials flanked the president during his remarks earlier. How was he received there?
Omar, he was received very enthusiastically, and as you alluded to, this was a reception that was very bipartisan in tone. The president traveling around this area with several prominent Republican officials from this local area, including the St. Pete Beach Mayor, Adrian Petrillos, Kathleen Peters, the chair of Pinellas County, both of whom are Republicans. Both of them spoke here after the president spoke, thanking President Biden for coming and saying basically they could not make it through the recovery process without the president's help, without the administration's help, and without the help of the federal government. So they were very grateful for the president being here. But also other prominent Republicans from Florida, including Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, a staunch Republican, traveling around here with the president and appearing with him, as well as Senator Rick Scott from the state of Florida there. So he's, again, flanked by several Republican officials. In turn, the president himself thanked the first responders who showed up to help. Take a listen.
I'm here to personally say thank you to the brave first responders. And I don't want to underestimate that. Brave first responders. Men and women in uniform, utility workers. Look at the number that showed up from around the country. From Canada, California, Nebraska, all over the country to come here to help. Men and women in uniform, as I said, healthcare personnel, neighbors helping neighbors, and so many more people. This is all a team effort, folks. We made a big difference, and it's saved lives. But there's much more to do, and we're going to do everything we can to get power back in your homes, not only helping you recover, but to help you build back stronger. God bless you all. May God protect our first responders, protect our troops.
And we should note that the president at this very moment was scheduled to be overseas. The president had scheduled a trip to Germany and to Angola. That was going to be his first and only trip to Africa while he was president. That trip was postponed. It was postponed on the eve of the day when Milton hit here. Now, the president says he still wants to go to Africa at some point before he leaves office. Omar?
Brian Todd, thank you so much for the reporting on the ground in Florida. I want to bring in Arlette Saenz because Arlette, House Speaker Mike Johnson doubled down on his stance that Congress won't return early to give additional FEMA disaster relief funding. Do we have a sense of how the administration is responding here?
Well, the White House has insisted that passing additional funding for FEMA and specifically for the disaster relief program needs to be a top priority. President Biden has said that Congress needs to deal with this quickly, but really House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer haven't shown any indications that they would consider bringing Congress back early to specifically deal with this matter. The House Speaker Johnson this morning reiterated this fact that he is not planning to bring the House back early, likely leaving this issue until after the election. Now, the White House and officials across the administration have said that they do believe they have enough funding to deal with the response to Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. But it's any disasters that could pop up around the corner that they are concerned about. Earlier in the week, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell said that they've already run through about $9 billion of the $20 billion that Congress had recently appropriated to the disaster relief program with these hurricanes. So it really speaks to the urgency that the administration is facing as they prepare for any other possible natural disasters that could come. There is also the issue of a program at the Small Business Administration, which officials argue needs to be funded more in order to help small business owners as well as homeowners recover some of the property and equipment they may have lost in these hurricanes. But one big question is exactly how much the administration will be asking Congress to provide. Earlier today, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas would not put an exact figure on what they will be asking down the road.
Okay. We are still, for example, assessing the damage from Hurricane Milton, which is of historic strength, and it also led to approximately 27 different tornadoes. So we don't know the impact. We don't know what's coming tomorrow, whether it's another hurricane, a tornado, a fire, an earthquake. We have to be ready, and it is not good government to be dependent on a day-to-day existence as opposed to appropriate planning.
Now, President Biden says he has not spoken with House Speaker Johnson yet, but he says that he hopes to. We'll see if there is any other pressure that he tries to place to try to get this funding approved down the road.
Arlette Saenz, really appreciate the reporting.